Hey everyone, you're tuned in to Secrets Behind the Stars. Settle in, because we've gathered everything you've been curious about. Support the channel by subscribing and sharing before we dive in. Now, to the story everyone is whispering about. Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu, long framed as a legendary duo by fans and magazines alike, are on everyone's lips not because of red carpet sparks or cozy vacation snapshots, but due to an unexpected twist hidden in their prenuptial talks. Words slipped from behind the velvet curtain when Barış reportedly confided to close friends, "Elçin cried when I added that clause to our agreement." The sentence swept through chats and newsrooms, stirring a mix of shock and fascination. It wasn't a tear born of anger, insiders insist, but one that came from a place much deeper than pride or fear. They've guarded their bond in recent months, choosing quiet dinners and private gatherings over headline-chasing outings, all while moving forward with wedding plans at a steady, careful pace. Somewhere in that delicate process, a conversation unearthed a clause that hit Elçin straight in the heart. The addition didn't concern money, assets, or the usual cold arithmetic that people think of when they hear the word prenup. It touched values. It asked for presence. It prioritized them over everything else that fame demands. According to those who heard it directly from the inner circle, Barış wanted their marriage to protect something the industry often erodes: time. He framed it in ways only someone who knows the grind could: clear, but gentle. No matter how intense their schedules become, no matter the roles, the sets, the flights, the rehearsals, they would carve out regular, non-negotiable hours devoted to one another. Even if they had to fly back at dawn to make a scene, they would do the little things that keep a soul tethered. Dinner without phones. A walk by the water. Notes tucked into a book. A promise to be the priority when everything else tries to steal that place. People who were around them that day say Elçin went quiet first, then she cried, openly, without attempting to pretend it didn't touch her. She is said to have whispered that no one had read the map of her hopes and fears so completely in such few words. She felt seen. She felt safe. And that feeling, those present believe, is what turned the air electric for both of them. The split among fans was immediate. Half of social media hailed it as a love letter disguised as legal language, proof that romance doesn't have to vanish just because paperwork enters the room. The other half argued that any prenup, no matter how tender its language, drags a chill across the warmth of an engagement. Yet those closest to Barış insist he has been crystal clear from the start: this isn't about doubt. It's about honoring the life they want to build. This isn't a wall, he told confidants, it's a lighthouse. They didn't run to the press with a statement. They didn't post a polished explanation. Instead, they disappeared for the evening and let the city breathe without their outlines. Sources say they spent hours alone, trading the kind of truths that leave no space for performance. Elçin spoke about the relentless noise of attention, how it magnifies the smallest misstep and magnifies the loudest opinion. She doesn't dislike the spotlight, she just refuses to be swallowed by it. She wants to act because she loves the craft, not because she owes a piece of herself to every gaze. Barış, calm even when the tide rises, promised to be the shield and the anchor. His clause, he explained, was as much a shelter for her as it was a compass for him. Another detail that moved her, according to whispers around their teams, concerns privacy. The clause reportedly states that during specific windows, whether it's the first morning after an intense shoot or the week before a premiere, there would be a boundary that no publicist, no brand, no camera could overstep. Those hours would belong to them, not to the machine that monetizes their names. Hearing that, Elçin is said to have stepped forward and hugged him in a way that told the room everything. When she finally found words, they amounted to this: she felt protected in a way she hadn't expected to feel in a conversation about contracts. It's being called a turning point by nearly everyone around them. After that evening, both sides of the family reportedly found themselves included in plans more regularly. There were more dinners, more calls, more soft negotiations about dates and traditions. Insiders noticed a gentle shift in the photos Elçin shared between set breaks: quieter, warmer, stripped of glamour yet saturated with meaning. Observant fans pointed out details they swear are nods to intimacy: a favorite book on a table, the corner of a handwritten note peeking from a purse. One crew member let slip that on the most chaotic days, Barış would slip away to leave a folded card for her where he knew she'd find it. Nothing grand, just a promise, a joke, a reminder that home was never far. Those tiny acts turned the narrative of a prenup into something else entirely. This wasn't two stars drawing battle lines. It felt like two adults agreeing on the music their future would dance to, laying out rhythms for the slow nights, the hard mornings, the moments fame doesn't photograph. Sources emphasize that they're keeping everything quiet, but say it wouldn't be surprising if an engagement party or even a soft, unexpected wedding date appears without warning. For now, though, the unanswered question keeps buzzing in the gossip hive. After a clause like that, when will they seal it with vows? Meanwhile, voices from their friend circle continue to color the picture. Some of Elçin's closest friends admit they flinched at the word prenuptial, only to soften once they heard what was actually on the page. The same people now say the document felt less like a list of protections and more like a mutual promise to show up on the days that are hard to show up. One line that particularly soothed nerves, we're told, carries this essence: should either of them face a career storm. Scripts falling through, a project failing, a brutal review, the other stands firm, not walking away or going silent, but sheltering, encouraging, and investing time and presence into healing. That sentiment, reportedly, eased conversations with family elders who had their own quiet reservations. They've agreed not to rush, a decision that would frustrate a younger version of themselves but now feels mature and wise. Both are surfing career waves at once, a blessing that can still drown you if you let momentum decide your life. So they're asking a different set of questions about timing, questions that turn weight into strength. Elçin has told people dear to her that she's looking ahead with a confidence she hasn't felt in years, while Barış, for his part, has reframed the entire topic in one clean line to his circle: this isn't a rulebook, it's the scaffolding of the home we're building. Talk of an unannounced, fairy tale ceremony has begun to simmer in the corners where such rumors like to warm themselves. The silence from the couple only makes the whispers louder. Fan pages revolve with countdowns, wish lists, predictions of dates and gowns and guest lists. Every new photo gets dissected, every caption becomes a clue. It's the game that pop culture loves to play, and it looks like these two are content to let the game play on while they write something real when the lights are off. In the middle of all of this, their public presence has softened. The pair have started skipping the noisy events where they used to appear and dazzle together, choosing quiet dinners, low-key nights with friends, and stolen weekends outside the city where the air doesn't echo. Analysts and bloggers call it the calm before the storm, the poised inhale before an announcement. Others say it's a recalibration, a decision to strengthen the core before feeding the spectacle. Then there was that interview where Elçin's words slid across the conversation like a ribbon. She spoke about lines she's drawn, how every yes requests a no somewhere else, and how she's learned to listen for the difference between what she wants and what the world wants from her. Fans took those sentences as an arrow pointing straight at their relationship, wondering if the ring is closer than it appears. And maybe it is. Maybe that's what makes people care so fiercely, the sense that this story is being written with care, not manufactured with headlines. The most striking part of the entire development remains the same: the clause that caused tears was never about possession or protection of things. It was about preserving heart, attention, and the simple rituals that make two people stay two, not drift into strangers living parallel celebrity lives. When framed that way, all the noise around legal documents fades into something almost tender. A prenup that reads like a love story is still a prenup, but it might also be a map. Insiders who have watched both actors move through years of spotlight say this approach rings perfectly true. Barış has long been known for that steady presence, the way he prefers sincerity to spectacle. And Elçin, with her fiery charm and sharp humor, has always protected a vulnerable inner space from the roar of adoration. The clause meets right in the middle of those traits: promise with structure, affection with intention, shelter with sunlight. Behind the scenes, meetings with families have multiplied. There are murmurs of a location that feels personal to both, a place where they first spoke honestly about what life would demand if they chose each other for good. Dresses and suits remain in closed garment bags, names kept off the record, details wrapped in the quiet that makes a secret feel sacred. But when you look at the way they've handled all of this, you feel like the day will come when it's not a secret at all, just joy shared in a way that doesn't erase intimacy. For now, they're staying disciplined, choosing the work they love, refusing to let the work devour them, and making sure the hours no one else sees are the hours that count most. In a world that measures love in headlines, they are measuring it in deliberate choices and quiet embraces. Maybe that's why the story resonates beyond fandoms and trends. It seems like a romance with its feet on the ground and its eyes forward. Whatever the next chapter brings. An engagement that pops up without a single leak, a surprise wedding that breaks the internet, or just another month of gentle silence, they've showed us something rare. Not that they're perfect, but that they're willing to design a life instead of merely inheriting the one fame offers. When they do choose to speak, the city will listen. This is where we leave today's tale. If you felt the pull of it, don't forget to subscribe and share so you don't miss what comes next. You were watching Secrets Behind the Stars, and we'll be back the minute this story turns its next beautiful page.